Casey's Audio Vault.
James Root from Stone Sour.
We talked July 19th, 2006. So the new album, Come Whatever May, is not quite out yet, but you already have 3 music videos floating around. Is that an aspect of the business that you enjoy?
Yes and no. I mean, videos to me are almost kind of like a necessary evil now. I would probably like them more if we had a little bit more control, and I'm not saying that we don't have any control over them. It's just a side of what we do that I'm not really that knowledgeable about. So, but they're a lot of hard work.
The Through Glass video seems to point out the phoniness of show business. Do you find yourself in situations like that? Like cocktail parties? You're just like, forget this, I'm not dealing with this.
Well, that's kind of a statement as to, being from Iowa and kind of just being like sort of sheltered Midwesterners, I guess, to an extent. Whenever you're in a situation where it's almost like a fantasy-like situation where you're around all these people that you only see necessarily on TV, and it just doesn't really seem that real. And you tend to feel a little bit out of place, and that's kind of how we feel sometimes,
Is that CeCe DeVille from Poison in the Through Glass video? Yeah,
he's in there.
Did you get a chance to talk with him?
Yeah, we talked to him quite a bit, man. He's a really cool dude, He's really down to earth. He's, pretty mellow, and, the guy's been through a lot in his life, and I understand, where he's coming from with, a lot of the problems that he's gone through in his life, and the fact that he was in the video kind of portraying himself as a past version of himself was kind of a cool thing, and I'm really glad that he was able to do it and to not really have any problems doing it.
He kicked ass on Rock and Roll Jeopardy a few years back. How do you think you do in there? Are you a music fanatic?
Oh, I do horribly. It depends. I've never really watched it, but I'd probably know a lot more of the older stuff. I would any of the newer, more current stuff. Maybe some of the stuff from the 80s I might be all right with.
What sort of stuff did you listen to back then?
Through the 80s? Oh, man, I liked a lot of everything, mostly into, a lot of speed metal and thrash metal. But,
It's not Duran Duran?
I'm not going to give you any of my guilty pleasures from the 80s. We're not going to have a Dexys Midnight Runners kind of thing going on.
Was there any one artist that made you want to make music?
I kind of grew up around a lot of rock and roll music. My dad collected vinyl, and he was very into music, and my mom, so I listened to everything from, Alvin Lee and 10 Years After to Black Sabbath to Zeppelin and The Who and Pink Floyd and all that. So that's basically kind of where, I knew what it was that I needed in my life, from a very early age.
I read that Josh went running during the recording of Come Whatever May. Do you have any routine to clear your mind?
Yeah, I woke up and made some coffee and had a couple cigarettes, and no, man, I'm pretty neurotic, so my brain works way too hard for my own good, so I tend to overthink a lot of things. So I wasn't really able to shut my brain off and just relax. I suppose maybe if I would have went running with Josh, then that could have helped kind of divert that energy somewhere else. But instead, I just kind of obsessed about what we were doing out there.
I have some questions here from some Power 97 listeners, some big fans of yours. First off, Mike wanted to know if it's a pain in the ass wearing the mask and your get-up, playing guitar for Slipknot.
It is a pain in the ass, but at the same time, it's rewarding in the fact that, I'm able to kind of be a little bit more freaky than I probably would be or could be without it. It kind of lets me, be a little bit less inhibited.
You're about to kick off the Family Values Tour. Shauna wanted me to ask you if you're going to hit Canada after that.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually were talking about that. We've got after Family Values is over, we're going to be in limbo for a few weeks. So it was up in the air on whether or not we would go to Europe or Canada. So Canada is a little bit higher on our list right now than Europe is. So yes, most definitely.
All right, last one for you. Wally wants to know where the name Stone Sour came from.
Well, that is one of those, for lack of a better name, we have this name, and it came off of a drink menu at a bar. Yeah, very profound, huh?
So it's like a whiskey sour?
Yeah, basically. I think there's like amaretto in it or something. It's a horrible drink. I wouldn't advise trying it.
Well, thanks so much for giving me a call, Jim.
Cool, man. Thanks.
All the interviews you want on iTunes and at Power97.com. Casey's Audio Vault.
Casey Norman is Power 97's music director and can be heard every weekday from 2 till 6 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Power 97 is Winnipeg's best rock.